Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be painting a fun little watercolor card. So first I am adding some paint onto a piece of paper with acetate over it to create this cool effect. I added Prussian blue, sap green, and cerulean. I'm making sure there's no chunks, adding water to the acetate, mixing the colors, and I am using a Faber Castell kids brush. I think it's size 6, which you can find at Walmart or any kids store basically. I am taking the acetate now and I am pushing it down onto my watercolor card, which I tape down to my board, and I am using my heat tool to set it dry. As you can see here, by smushing the water, it creates a splash effect, and you can add it, push the water around to make a desired effect however you want it. Once I dry each layer as I move, and I add more water to make it look how I want to. This creates a cool splash look to it. Also, I go in with the brush and add some more color where I see more is needed. You can do this with reds, yellows, oranges to make like a sunset look, or you can do blues and purples and it'll make different effects. And this is the background of the card. So as you see, I'm going in with the brush, adding darker color to make it more intense where I want it. And I'm heat setting it with my dryer tool. You don't have to have a dryer tool. If you have a hair dryer, that will work just as fine, and it will work just as well. I got my heat tool at Paper Source, and then the watercolor paper I'm using is Canson XL watercolor paper. It's relatively cheap, inexpensive, and you can find it at Walmart, Amazon, and a variety of places. Then I peel off the masking tape which I use. The masking tape prevents the paper from warping, and it leaves nice borders on the edges. Then I will grab my X-Acto or my paper trimmer, and I trim the edges to make it fit for my watercolor base. I cut my own cardstock and fold it, but you can go to a print shop and get it cut and folded there. I'm heat setting it just to make sure everything is dry and so none of the color smears before I trim it. As you can see, I'm trimming excess edges and even cutting off some of the paint just to make sure it fits on my card base. Next, I grab my card base. I measure it just to make sure it fits, and that's how I want it. Then I trim it some more just to perfect it, and I will take the double-sided tape and I will tape the back of it to the card base. By trimming it, you can trim it to however small or large you want it. If you want it to fit exactly on the card, or if you want a little border to be left, you can do that and it will create some cool effects. So here I'm taking the same pieces of tape and I am taping them down for my hand-drawn design on top. This way I have neat borders on the edges when I hand draw in the present. So I'm taking a black Faber Castell brush pen, and I'm drawing lines horizontally across the page from one tape to the other tape, and it creates like you can make this into a present or a cake at the end. So it's the base of the whatever object I'm drawing, and then I'm just shading them in so they're darker and more pronounced. These brush pens work really well, but they are water activated, so you have to be careful. So you have to make sure you're fully done using the watercolor before you use this. If you wanted to go back and add more on top, it will smear the black. So that's why I'm doing it at the very end. Then I drew candles because I am making this one like a cake. And you could instead make ribbon to make it like a present, or you could do something of that nature. Then I remove the tape, and at this point you can throw out the tape. I like to recycle it and reuse it for multiple cards. And then I take a black gel pen. This one in particular is a Uniball gel pen, and I am just hand lettering my greeting, and here I am writing birthday wishes, but you could write happy birthday, or if it's a present it could be wishing you a great day, or thanks a lot, or anything you wanted to say. You can also use micron pens for this, but I just had a gel pen handy, and it doesn't have to be any special pen. Like, you could even use a regular pen. And to make the calligraphy look, I am shading the downstrokes of the lettering, and it gives it a look like it's calligraphy. You can find all of the supplies I used. They'll be listed in the description below with links for you to purchase them. But by no means you have to do this. You should use whatever you have at home around your house. And these paints are actually paints I purchased from Walmart. They're called Royal and Langnickel, like they're kids paints, but they still do the job, and you don't need some expensive paints to create a card. Finally, I'm using some double-sided tape on the back, and I'm just adding 4 little marks around the edges and 1 in the center. And I am taping it to my card base. I align it, center it to make sure it fits nicely in the card. And I'm just fixing any few details I saw that needed some extra addition or fixing to. And here I am creating a little dotted border on my white cardstock. And this cardstock I purchased from Staples. It comes in 8.5 by 11 size 11.5 size sheets, and I just trim them in half, and then I fold them with a bone folder. So I'm adding a border to make it more detailed. It's just a simple dotted line. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a great day.